you had a one-way time travel ticket, past or future, when would you travel to and why?
Well, it's got to be somewhere overseas because I've never traveled anywhere else besides Mexico, out of the country. I'm going to say Australia. Oh.
One-way time travel ticket,
Oh!
past or future, when would you travel to and why?
Oh.
I would go back to 1919 when the Packers became a National Football League team
Why?
because I wanted to see the formation of the NFL and try to play in leather helmets.
Oh, so you would actually like try
I would
out.
try out for the Packers, yeah.
Mid-19th century pioneer times, Laura Ingalls Wilder style, wagon train, Old West. The idea seems romantic, but now in hindsight it seems really terrible because, I'd probably die of dysentery.
Late 70s, early 80s, just so I can see the Police at their peak, at their high, because I love their music, they're my favorite band, and just see them in concert.
I think I would go to the early 70s so I could see what my parents were like when they were kids.
I would go back in time to, I would say, probably, 18, 19. College days, awesome.
Wait, you went to college in the year 1819?
No, I mean not the year. I thought you meant my age when I was 18 or 19. So that would take me back to like year 2005, 2006.
Future. History doesn't really interest me a whole lot, so I want to see what's coming ahead of us rather than stuff behind us. Far enough to see my children's children. Children. 3 generations? That sounds good.
I would go to 1990 when my first child was born.
I'd like to go to the future because I'm really curious as how many grandchildren I'm going to have someday. I'm 53, so I can't go too far. I'll go I'll go 2030.
I'm gonna go back 4 years and remind myself that things go by so fast and enjoy my kids when they're teeny babies again.
Wow, past or future? I'd probably want to go to the future just to see how the lives of my sons turn out.
I would go back to Roman times to see when public schools actually started.
I'd like to go back and visit my grandpa Ryan a little bit. He's a personal hero of mine and I don't feel like I got to spend a lot of time with him, so.
I don't know. The future. To see what the new technology is.
I think I would go to the future just because I'd be curious of what kind of technology would continue to come out because it seems like this, we're at a rapid pace of technology. I'd be curious of where it would take us.
How far?
20 years.
I don't know, maybe 100 years? Random guess.
As much as I want to know what's going on in the future, I think I'd like to go backwards to the past. Maybe like as far back as my grandparents when they were born. So like just after the turn of the century, so 1914, 1920s. Just wonder what it was like for them.
I would like to see the Mozart and Beethoven in real life. So go back and see, these master composers and go to their concerts. And then time travel back here because I like electricity.
But it's one way, so like.
Oh no!
Is it worth it to get stuck there?
Is it worth it? Oh. No, I can't give it up. Can't give hot water up. No.
I guess I'll go back to the 1960s here in America just because everything was so interesting and changing, similar to other times, but just a great time to be around, and I would be interested to take part in everything and all that change in that time.
I'm going back to the 60s, like 65, 68. My parents say that that's the best time because they could play out in the street and the lights were just on, and when the lights went off, they went home and the world was safe. So apparently that's where I'm going to because that's the best time period.
That couldn't be a harder question. Past, most definitely. Right now we're talking about the revolution, so I would have to say late 1700s. United States.
Revolutionary time period, I would just love to live in that era and explore it. It's my favorite era in history.
When am I going? Probably go back to the 90s, the 1790s. I would like to see the beginnings of our country.
I would like to go into the future, like 10 years, and see what's all going on in government, because I'm hoping our government can get back to where I think it was supposed to be.
I don't know, I think I'd go back to the 80s. The 80s was a good time. It was my childhood. And I think I'd like to see it maybe through a different lens, with less hair.
Traveling to 20 years from now, so is that 2039? I feel like that's a reasonable time span to be able to then come back and hopefully change my next 20 years to make 2039 a better time for the people that are living currently.
But it's a one-way ticket.
Oh, one-way
So
ticket,
if
I
you-
can't come back?
If you go to 2039, you're
I'm just
stuck in
there.
2039.
Oh, take me back to 1989. I'll try to relive my 30 years of existence and do it better than I did my first go around.
Just start over.
Just start over, yeah.
Fresh start.
Knowing what I know now, do I get to bring my intelligence with me?
You would assume so.
All right, I'm bringing my intelligence back to October 3rd, 1989, and I'm going to kill it for another 30 years of 0 to 30.
In the future, about 20 years, just to see if I'm still there.
Wow, that's not dark at all.
That's all.
You know when you time travel to? You don't time travel. The time-space continuum is much too fragile. The only answer can be to take a hard pass.